Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, if F-Zero can have 2 tracks, why can't we have 16? It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing so good. Patrick, we've been on like a little bit of a, we have been a little bit of a hot streak, but also the weather outside has been on a little bit of a hot streak. I don't know if you have been affected by this, but like my allergies have really like started kicking in the past couple of days, which feels so unfair because I'm not going outside.
Yes, I don't have like really strong allergies, but I did spend some time outside yesterday. I had to read a book yesterday. And so I went out to our, like, we've got a covered like garage kind of area. It's not really like an enclosed building or anything. But there's one like just empty space. And so I threw down like a beach chair and read out there because I wanted to be outside for, the first time in like a month and a half. And I started like after not very long was like runny nose and like watery eyes and was like, yeah, it's happening. It's really happening out there.
It just feels so unfair.
It does feel unfair. So like pollen, take a break. All right. Here's something else that is taking a break. The borrowing program for my copy of Sonic Forces. We got there. If you would like to someday borrow my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch, all you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and give us a mailing address where we can send it to you. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. Program currently on hiatus because I don't want to go into the post office. But someday the program will restart, and the next person whose name is on that list, they're gonna get an email from me being like, "Do you still want this thing? You requested it a year ago." And then I send it to him, and that's that.
It remains a successful program, even not in hiatus. It's retiring a champion. And then it's going to come out of retirement, and it's going to be ready for more.
Just like Stallone. Did he ever announce a retirement, or am I just know that he got old?
I mean, it was like a de facto retirement. We all just didn't want to see him in movies anymore.
And I think that's right. I think that's right of us. Okay, we have got a big project ahead of us. So, Mark, let's get into it. Let's talk about Mario Kart DLC that we'd like to see. So this is a slight departure from what we had established we were going to do today on the Tuesday episode, right? At first we were like, let's just talk about DLC. Look, we are in an era of we don't know when we're going to get a big new Nintendo Direct. We don't know what like the big new Nintendo games are for 2020. But things that have been in the air a little bit, DLC, right? Like Super Mario Maker 2 just got some, and Animal Crossing continues to get it. So we were like, hey, where else is Nintendo leaving money on the table? And the obvious answer is Mario Kart, right? Everyone has at least a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, and it feels like such a golden opportunity. Like everybody loves Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's the definitive Mario Kart of all time, and it's just sitting there begging for more cups.
Yeah, so do Mark and I have a bunch of ideas for a bunch of new tracks that we're going to haphazardly pitch as though we have any idea what it takes to create a whole new track in Mario Kart 8? You bet we do.
Undeniably.
So I don't. We both have 8 tracks that we'd like to see added to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And Mark, I don't know how you approach this, but I thought about it. Here's what I had in mind before I started compiling my list. One is that I don't want any more classic tracks. Like I know there are a few cool like Mario Kart 7 tracks that aren't in this one, and there are a few like where's the Toad Mall from Mario Kart Wii, but I'm like no, let the past die, kill it if you have to, right? So I'm coming at it with all new tracks, no classics.
I am with you 100%.
Uh, Another like thing that another like guiding principle for me was to lead with Mario, right? Like I know we have the Excitebike track, I know we have a couple F-Zero and one Zelda, but I did not want this to be like a full on like smashification of Mario Kart. I wanted it to be either directly related to Mario or related to things that are already in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, and I ended up going the same way with some exception, but for the most part, I ended up going that way. And that was hard for me. Like my initial list when I was coming up with this had a lot of like other Nintendo stuff that'd be like, oh, it'd be cool to see in like a Mario Kart, or maybe like more Zelda stuff. But then I eventually paired it back, and because that really is kind of like what distinguishes. Well, there's a lot that distinguishes Mario Kart and Smash Brothers Ultimate, but you're right. Mario Kart is not like a celebration of video game history or even Nintendo history. It is very like Mario focused.
Right. And like there are a few diversions in there. Like, do not get us wrong. Like we see the Inklings, right? We see Link, we see the Animal Crossing stuff. Like we know that it's there. But like I didn't want to be like, and here's a Star Fox thing, and here's a Metroid thing,
totally,
and, whatever. And even like those series specifically are like so tonally different that like I guess they're kind of in line with F-Zero, but F-Zero being a racing game feels like it gets grandfathered in. In any event, I tried to let that guide my picks, but not necessarily dictate them, if that makes sense. And then beyond that, nothing, no other really guiding principles.
Yeah, there's no rules except for the ones that we made up in our heads and didn't necessarily communicate to each other.
That is correct. Also, another like 11th hour curveball I threw at Mark was that we are also going to introduce new characters, a new racer that comes with each track.
And I have one for all of them except one, so I'm going to need your help in working that one out.
Okay, cool. I also have a couple where I'm like, that's an okay pick. It could be better. Okay, but Mark, would you like to go first or would you like to go second? We'll trade back and forth, I think.
Yeah, I will go first.
Very good.
Okay, so my first Mario Kart track that I would like to see if we got new DLC is, I'm calling it Royal Wart Hall. And it's kind of a very loose play on Royal Albert Hall. And the reason it got me thinking of this is, I had just been playing Super Mario Brothers 2, and there is not enough Super Mario Brothers 2 representation in Mario Kart. And
no, there are 9 Shy Guys that you can race as, but yeah.
You know how there are when you're in the boss battle with Wart, and there's that little like vegetable thing that it's like shooting vegetables out, and then you pick those up. So to me, that vegetable thing looked like a pipe organ, and so I'm like, great. I'm imagining a big, like, have you ever seen like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir not scream, sing?
Go ahead. I mean, I am familiar with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Yes.
Normally they have like that enormous pipe organ in the back, and so that's what what I'm imagining in my head is like this like Royal Albert Hall concert hall mashed up with some enormous like Phantom of the Opera style pipe organ.
Oh, that's great. Can we have like a Phantom who is wearing a Phantom mask?
That would be amazing. And yeah, maybe it's like one of the other, maybe it's like, what is the name of the like mouse boss, Mauser or something?
Yeah, that's his name, Mauser.
Yeah, maybe he's the one, because Mauser is not my pick for a new character to be able to control. That is, of course, Wart, because Wart is due his
Oh,
due.
okay. All right. Oh, so, Mark, I will confess that Wart's Castle is on my list. I have a couple backups, so I will cede this whole one to you. I thought the playable character for this should, I think Wart should be part of the level itself, and that we got to put Birdo in there.
Is Birdo not currently
Birdo is not currently a playable character in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
that is blowing my mind. Like, this is like a
Yeah.
Mandela effect type thing. Like, I would have bet a significant amount of money that Birdo is. So yeah, that's such a good call. Birdo needs their day.
And like I think it would also be fun to have Wart like on stage, right? Like if a phantom wearing a phantom mask is playing the organ, or Mauser is playing the organ, that then Wart is like skulking around on stage, or like he's the big ham, like trying to get applause or whatever.
And I also like to imagine, like you probably start outside, you go into the concert hall, you're like, going around the perimeter, probably backstage a little bit, maybe like there's a bunch of those little star ninja guys that are sitting in like a massage circle, like backstage at junior high performance of Godspell.
Right.
Like you get the whole theater experience.
Mm-hmm. That's great, and I really like the idea of combining like Wart's Castle from the end of Super Mario Brothers 2 with a sort of like concert hall. It's just wacky enough to, and there aren't enough. Like I know there are some music tracks, like the music park and the one where you're like on like a piano organ, like as you're turning. Like there are a couple, but like yeah, give me more. Just give me everything that looks like music. All right, Mark, are you ready for my first pick?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also a mashup of sorts, and this is a track that I'm calling Bowser's Bloodstream. This is based on Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
Oh, I thought for sure it was a mashup with Osmosis Jones.
No. Well, the other mashup is Dr. Mario. So you are inside Bowser's body, and he has a terrible disease. So it's just it's like any other track, except instead of rivers of lava or water, it's blood, and you're like skating around inside his veins, and there are like the Dr. Mario viruses in there, and like they get in your way that way. And you could have parts where like you're in his arm, and he like pulls it up, so like the polarity or like the gravity sort of changes, and like you can splash through his stomach, and like maybe you get to a part where you can like see out his eyes or something. So you're just like zipping around inside Bowser's body.
I also like the idea that it's that it is kind of paying homage to Bowser's Inside Story, because that's one of those like the Alpha Dream Mario and Luigi RPGs, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, pouring one out for our friends at Alpha Dream, and a series that, like is definitely for the past, since the DS era, maybe even the GBA era, was like a big part of like Mario RPG history, and now will probably be no more.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a game that was just remade for the 3DS. It was one of the last games that Nintendo put out on the system. So like, yeah, just it's one way to like elevate this thing before it goes away forever. And for playable characters, I said the viruses.
Oh, that would be really fun. And we know that in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they love letting you be able to choose like the color scheme of your characters, and so that's like perfect for the different viruses.
Yeah, do you want the red, the yellow, or the blue? Yeah.
All right. Well, my next one is in the same vein, no pun intended. Mine is the Mushroom Kingdom Memorial Hospital. And it's of course where Dr. Mario, like is it's where he it's like the hospital that he's associated with. He has his own practice.
Sure, okay.
He's probably an old school doctor. He does house calls. I think Dr. Mario does house calls like to rich people, like sidebar,
prescribing them too many pills.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
In my head, doctors who do house calls are from like the 1920s or something, and they're always giving people opium.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And this is exactly what Mario is doing. Like, what's your problem? All he can fight it with is pills. Like, that's it.
So, you know, I would love to be going through to like you're racing through the Mushroom Kingdom Memorial Hospital, right? And you are going to like the surgery theater and you're seeing
Ooh,
like maybe there
like a
are
Goomba on the table.
exactly, yeah. And um there's Koopa Troopas, and they're waiting to be bandaged up in the ER because they've been like stomped on. Um, I just really want to see what the healthcare system of Mushroom Kingdom is like.
Yeah, because it's gotta be good, right? Because there's a lot of like just danger around every turn. Like these, either everyone's dying or like everyone's getting patched up somewhere.
So the racer that I would like to see for Mushroom Kingdom Memorial Hospital is Dr. Goomba Tower.
Yes, yes, Dr. Goomba Tower. I
So
love it.
this is the latest edition, or actually, I don't know that that's true. They might have added a bunch more, but we very rarely talked about Dr. Mario World, the mobile
Hmm.
Dr. Mario game. But one of the most recent additions of new unlockable doctors that they introduced is Dr. Goomba Tower, which is 3 Goombas standing on each other's shoulders, for lack of a better term, wearing a lab coat, a single lab
Yeah.
coat for 3
Yep.
Goombas tall.
A single lab coat, a single stethoscope. They're one doctor. They work together to be one doctor, and one doctor who drives a go-kart around the hospital.
Yes, exactly. With no arms, but
Mhm.
3 sets of legs.
I love it. That sounds like a ton of fun. Um, are you ready for
Mm-hmm.
my next track? Okay. So this one's maybe a little bit more like right across the plate, nice and simple. I want a honeybee galaxy track from Super Mario Galaxy. They're one of the coolest, cutest power ups. Mario can turn into a bee and fly around and crawl through honey and stuff. And like the Mario Kart games have a little bit of a history of acknowledging this with the Queen Bee Racer character. She's in Mario Kart Tour and she's also in Mario Kart 7, but she's not in Mario Kart 8. And there's no like bee or like beehive representation in the tracks themselves. And it's another one where like you're sort of the perspective is cheated and everyone feels like small. And there would be like big flowers, big like dandelions and stuff, and then of course you would get to a part where like there's just lots of like sticky honey around that you have to avoid. And bees, and like you can't get wet, like that. And so that's this one's a simple one. But seems like an obvious one, right?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I was when I was coming up with my list, I was thinking of there's like Tanuki Suit Mario in Mario Kart
Hmm.
8 Deluxe, and I was thinking like what other like Mario power ups are kind of would it be fun to see come back, because sometimes like B Suit Mario, they're introduced for I think the Galaxy games, and then we haven't really seen it since.
Totally.
And it's fun when they're kind of like lying in stasis to see like something that you're like, oh right, I forgot like they did that, or like Spring Mario or something. So I love the idea of taking B Mario and making that like a whole track.
Yeah, and obviously the playable character has got to just be Mario in a bee costume. Like you can overthink it, but like it's just got to be Mario in the bee costume.
Absolutely. Okay, so my next one, this one's a little bit more like it, picture in your head
Hmm.
psychedelia. Okay,
Ooh,
like you know
all right.
how Rainbow Road is like, what's Rainbow Road? It can kind of be anything. It's going to be a path that has rainbows, and then everything else just going on in the level is sometimes doesn't make any sense. There's like a train made out of stars and it's going through the galaxy, and you're just
Right.
trying to
I mean,
stay on
like
the
you're
road.
kind of in space is something is the only other like guiding course for this thing.
Yeah, exactly. So what I am proposing is a track that celebrates the age of Shy Aquarius. It's a level, an ode to the petal guy that we talked about from Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. The Shy Guy variant that has like a wig of petals, or its hair is petals, or just petals are growing out of its head like flowers. Spring forth from this Shy Guy's head.
Sure. So you're picturing him as like a sort of hippie, like flower child kind of thing,
right?
So is this a track that like travels into his like subconsciousness? Are we inside the petal guy's acid trip?
Exactly. Yeah. And so
but
like everything is really,
trip. Okay.
it's like a little bit, like when you're in combat and Earthbound and there's that weird like vibrating background and nothing really makes sense. So that's why it's like a mashup between Rainbow Road and I don't even know, just like
Earthbound.
And Earthbound, I guess. Yeah.
That's a pretty crazy one. I like it a lot. Is the playable character the pedal guy?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. That's a good one. I like it. My next pick is, look, you've raced through Luigi's Mansion, but have you raced through the haunted hotel from Luigi's Mansion 3?
Oh, that's
I bet
good.
you haven't. So it would be one that starts at the top, and you're like driving around the top of the hotel, and then like a ramp that would like bring you back in, like out and back in, and you would go into the elevator, and then from the elevator it would randomly select one of the floors, and maybe there are like 4 or 5 different floors that like that follow the different themes of Luigi's Mansion 3. So like one's a pyramid, one's the movie set, one's like a greenhouse, so that there's like one good random element and like ghosts and stuff, that's it. I just want to spend more time in that amazing haunted hotel, which is basically like a miniature theme park in and of itself.
Oh man, yeah, like Luigi's Mansion 3, like you're saying, like has such cool like variations within it that it would be so fun to explore those. I'm interested to hear who you picked as like the racer.
Oh, you are? It's Professor Egad.
That's what I was hoping. But I feel like there's but I feel like there are like so many like interesting picks you could make. Like I'd love to see Polterpup driving
Polterpup would be a good pick.
Or even just a Luigi variant that has
like a Gooigi.
the Poltergust. Oh yeah, or a Gooigi? That would be awesome.
Gooigi. Ooh, that's tough. Now I'm torn.
I mean, I think really we want to have both.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think now Gooigi should just be an alternate on Luigi.
Yeah, like a different like color basically variant that you can choose.
Yeah.
But then Professor Egad for sure needs his own. And actually Polterpup should ride in a sidecar of whatever Professor Egad is karting around in.
100%. He'll have some dumb little bike with a sidecar and Polterpup will be in that. That's perfect.
Okay, so my next dream Mario Kart DLC track would be based around Bowser Jr., which
now hold on.
I know
you
I
hate
know,
Bowser
I know.
Jr.
I do hate Bowser Jr. But allow me to explain. So I was thinking about Bowser Jr. and I'm like, why do I not like Bowser Jr.? And I think part of it is because he is like the bratty 10-year-old boy that is just like horribly obnoxious to be around, and that like I was for sure, that I think like every 10-year-old boy is just unavoidably this horrible like monster to be around.
Okay, sure. Okay. 10-year-old boys are bad. I get it.
Shout out to all my 10-year-old boys listening to this. But so
It's a tough time, man. It's tough to be 10. Like there's a bunch of stuff happening. You don't understand it. It's tough. You are forgiven for being terrible. You are terrible.
and yeah, it's like it's across the board. We all go through it. Um so then I was thinking, when I was 10 years old, where did I want to have my birthday party? And the answer, of course, was at a laser tag arena, which is why
Okay.
this track is Bowser Jr.'s laser tag arena birthday party. So
Oh my god, I love it.
so you start, it's at one of those like growing up, we would have something where it was like an ice rink or a roller rink, and then, because roller rinks weren't super popular in the 90s, then they turned them into like also having a Stargate laser tag. And so in my head, you start in the party room because all those places have party rooms.
Yep. Really bad party rooms, like that are too small, and like the door is in like kind of a weird place.
And then it's usually like neon green or like neon blue inside. And then so we bolt out of the party room, go by the snack bar, right? And then like you're in to the laser tag area. And so it's all like Tron like, and there's lasers flying back and forth.
Of course. Tons of black light and like neon paint.
And it's another one where maybe you're like small, like you're undersized, or maybe not. Maybe it's just like an enormous laser tag arena. But
I think that's great.
It's the only way that I could justify talking about Bowser Jr.
I'm surprised that you went out of your way to justify that. Like, I feel like you are normally super content to not bring up Bowser Jr. at all, to pretend he does not exist. But I think Bowser Jr.'s laser tag birthday party is a great track idea, and does that thing that like Mario Kart tracks do, where it's like, oh yeah, I guess this could be a thing, where you're like, oh sure. Yeah, why wouldn't there be like a train station or a subway or something, And you're just like, yeah, that all makes sense.
Well, I also just like in my head, I like to think about like Bowser being the like parent in charge at a birthday party. Yeah. Everybody else just dropped their kids off, and now Bowser, is having to put up with baby Mario, and I don't even know who would go to Bowser Jr.'s birthday party. I think the problem is that like nobody would.
I mean, I think the Koopalings would have to go.
The Koopalings would have to go. Kamek probably
but they wouldn't
is forced
stay for
to show
long.
up.
Right. The Koopalings leave after like they stay for like a slice of pizza in one game, and then they're gone.
Or they're like, yeah, we're just gonna, we'll be in the arcade or whatever, and then they like go behind the building and they're smoking.
Right. That tracks. So for my next one, it's another sort of just like straight across the plate one, and seemingly super obvious, and even sort of on the minds of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe designers, the moon. The moon is one of the battle arenas that we get in the like new battle mode, but it's also a place that Mario goes to all the time. He's there in Super Mario Odyssey. He's there in Super Mario Land 2. He's there in the original Super Mario Land. Like I just get us to a place that has that sort of like messed up floaty gravity. The same exact mechanics that you've got in the battle mode arena, except in a track that you can race around.
Yeah, that is a total no-brainer. I mean, the multiplayer menus in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are all kind of like outer space theme. You got those toads floating around in their spacesuits. Everybody runs out on really like the face of the moon when you're waiting for the lobby to load. Yeah, it feels like the perfect fit for this game.
Yeah, why are we not already on the moon? And I guess the answer is we sort of are, but why are we not having a race there? And so because of its relationship to Super Mario Land, the playable character that I'm pulling here is the alien boss from the original Super Mario Land, Tatanga. He's just like a weird little alien looking dude, is one of those Nintendo characters and Mario characters that doesn't get any play in anything ever anymore. So I just want to see him back rolling around with his cute little alien head. and his pointy little ears.
Yeah, I like that because, when at the beginning we were talking about the difference between Mario Kart, or one of many differences between Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is just like all about celebrating video game history. And Mario Kart, I feel like, does an okay job of celebrating Mario as a whole, but it's not really ever been super interested in diving into like the more esoteric parts of Mario history. And
Right.
I think it'd be super fun, yeah, to like bring back Tatanga and have it be like a Fire Emblem and Smash Brothers moment where people are like, "What is this?" But it causes, maybe somebody who's interested to like dig a little deeper and find this like thing that they didn't even know existed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we both have done 4 at this point, right?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
halfway through. We're halfway through.
we're halfway through. Wait, yeah. So I do. I have 4 more. I was looking at my list
Yeah,
and I was
that's right.
trying. Yeah, I could not count. Okay,
Well,
so
let's just to quickly recap. So far, we have Wart's Royal Music Hall, Bowser's Bloodstream, Mushroom Kingdom Hospital, the Honeybee Galaxy, Pedal Guy's Psychedelic Trip, Luigi's Haunted Hotel, Bowser Jr.'s Laser Tag Birthday Party, and the Moon.
that is like, these are tracks I would be excited to play.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so my next one is a celebration of a character that I love, and it's Captain Toad. And so what I want to see is Captain Toad's dig site. I think you are
Great.
going to be finding, like, I have a lot of headcanon about a lot of these characters. So in my mind, Captain Toad, the setup for this track is that Captain Toad is a professor at a university where he teaches archaeology like Indiana Jones. He goes on his adventures,
Right.
then he like
Great.
goes back and he just like teaches because that's what he does. And
Are his Toad students in love with him?
absolutely.
Great.
And then so he is the like leading this archaeological dig site, and we are driving through this dig site. So you get a lot of like going up ramps, you going down ramps, like deeper into the dig. Maybe it's like happening in Egypt possibly. So, you're going into like pyramids, you're like deep into the tombs. They're lit by
Cool.
torches. And so that is my pitch for Captain Toad's dig site. The racer, I think, of course, Captain Toad should be like an alternate costume, but the racer I would like to see is the Mummy Me enemy from Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, which is
interesting.
A toad who has been mummified.
Yeah. And in the game, he just like follows you around, and you have to. He recreates your path exactly, so you just can't like cross back over it. That's great, and is a scary addition to the game. Toad is already a racer, right? As is Toadette.
Yes.
Okay. So if you could just also have like the alternates where they have like the headlamp and the backpack on,
for sure,
that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is Captain Toad's dig site.
Mm-hmm.
All right, wonderful. For my next pick, I don't have a name for this yet, but it is a track that celebrates many different forms of Paper Mario. So everything in the area would, have that sort of 2D, 3D look to it. Like a bush would just be like a lot of like false facades, basically. But then there are 2 parts of Paper Mario that I would want to pull from recent games and sort of maligned games in the series, Sticker Star and Color Splash, where there are parts of the level that aren't like colored in yet, and therefore like can't be used. Like there's a ramp over here, but on your first pass through your first lap, it's not going to be colored in, so you can't use it yet. And then like the same thing sort of with like stickers that like peel off as you play through it. That like here's a sticker that is a boost, but enough people go over it and the sticker peels off, and then you can't boost off it anymore. And really just stuff like that. that and like play around with the sort of like elasticity or like foldingness of like a paper level, that like sometimes a shortcut will be accessible because the level has folded on itself. And just really have it be like a malleable changing experience from lap to lap.
Yeah, and I love that idea. And I love again that it's like taking a part of Mario history that isn't already celebrated in Mario Kart and like making it a part of it.
And I struggled a little bit with who should be the racer here. I feel like an obvious answer would be just Paper Mario. But there is a there's a really cool Toad in Color Splash who like has these aviator sunglasses and like a scarf that's like constantly blowing in the wind. And there was a little bit where, as I was playing it, Sarah would like pinpoint that Toad and go, "How'd he get so cool?" And there was a while where we were just asking each other all the time, "How'd he get so cool?" So this really cool Toad, I don't know what his deal is or what his name is.
Man, I never thought I would be jealous of a Toad, but here I am.
He's so cool, man.
I just
Wearing
want
like
him to talk to me.
He's so cool.
Okay, so my next pick is one that does go outside of Mario. And this is the Virtual Boy Boulevard of Dreams. I would love to see a level that celebrates the Virtual Boy. And so the entire, like color scheme is the red and black and a little bit of gray. That matches, what would you would see in the viewfinder of a Virtual Boy. And I would love to go through. It's like, in my head, like you would be going through like different Virtual Boy games. So you would spend a little bit of time in Teleroboxer, and then you would find yourself in Nestor's Funky Bowling, and then like Wario Land. Yeah, exactly. Like all those different stuff. A friend of the show, June, and I were joking that is Labo becoming the new Virtual Boy, where we just like will basically never talk of Labo ever again. And that just got me excited about the Virtual Boy again. And I was like, yes, we should have more things celebrating the Virtual Boy. I think it'd be really fun to have it in Mario Kart.
Now, Mark, you know that I am a big fan of all things Virtual Boy, and that I never want to let it go. That I wish they brought those games to the Virtual Console on the 3DS. It could do the 3D. And for some reason, they never brought it over again, because we will probably never talk about it. So on those grounds alone, I think this is one of the best tracks we've come up with.
And I think for me, it's a no-brainer that the racer that should represent this track is Nestor.
Gotta be.
Nestor's Funky Bowling. And of course, the comic strip that was in Nintendo Power.
So Nestor is a great pick. I would say the only other acceptable choice would be Harry, the main character from Teleroboxer, but Nestor feels like he feels better. He feels like a more solid pick. Okay, so for my next poll, I've got a couple here. I'm just deciding what order I want to bring them out in. Okay, you went off base a little bit here. I'll go off base a little as well. Something that has, look, we've already seen Splatoon representation in this game. There's a battle mode course based on Splatoon, and there are 2 Inklings in the game. I want to add the Shoal, which is the Salmon Run area from Splatoon 2. And this is another like progressive. Each track, like it gets a little bit harder and busier, so where like more of those salmon run bosses are like storming the track, and you just have to like keep avoiding them. I'd want to turn all of the coins into the power eggs that you're collecting, and so the salmon are like after those coins, and so like the salmon can take coins from you, and they're like actively trying to get them. Yeah, that is it. I just it's such like a dingy, like dark. It's not really my aesthetic normally, but like man, to keep having those bosses and salmon like invading the track would be so much fun.
And another thing that'd be great about it is like every time you played the track, there could be like 3 or 4 different variations.
Yeah, totally.
Because like in Salmon Run, sometimes it's like really foggy and dark, and so like the salmon are doing something totally different. Like like the objective changes, and so the environment changes when that happens in Salmon Run. Oh man, I love Salmon Run so much. That would be so much fun to just like spend more time in that environment.
Yeah, and so I wasn't. Now we come to the hard part, which is picking the new playable character. And I thought maybe just an Octoling or maybe Pearl and Marina.
That would be fun.
Do you think it's more fun to go like generic like the Octoling or like specific and have because we already have like the generic Inklings.
Right. I mean, I think it'd be fun to go specific. Can I give you my pitch?
Yeah.
Is one of my favorite favorite NPCs from Splatoon 2, which is Krusty Sean, the like big
Sure,
tiger prawn or whatever he is that
yeah, he's
like
also
runs...
like kind of tempera'd up.
Yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he runs the food truck. I
Yeah.
think in Splatoon 2. I for whatever reason I'm always delighted when I'm interacting with that character.
I mean, it could also be that big fat cat thing too. Like, it could really be any NPC from Splatoon 2. I love them all. It's such a colorful, weird cast that it could be anyone.
That would be so much fun. Okay, so this next one, this is the one I like struggled with figuring out who an appropriate racer for this would be. But the track idea I have is Rosalina's roller derby.
Great.
And I'm thinking this is like a baby park type, really simple course, that you're going around in circles. Again, my headcanon for this is like, look, Rosalina obviously has like a very she exudes kindness, and it has like a very maternal feel, but
Right.
she also has, of course, this other side of her where she's just like, yeah, but I'm also like a boss, like if
Right.
somebody messes with me or with like the people I love, then like I'm gonna take them on, and I have to channel that energy into into like roller derby.
Yeah, no, I like that too. But it does raise the question of like who do you put as that character? Because Rosalina, as we know, is already in the game.
Right. You know what really Rosalina I feel like really needs is a Daisy-like alternative. So maybe in the way
Oh,
that like Waluigi was invented
uh-huh.
for a spin-off, we're inventing a spin-off character that is like, it's like Rosalina, but if she showed up in Super Mario Land.
Okay, all right. So it's just like just another space princess is what we're talking about.
With like a different hair color, I guess.
Sure, okay.
So
Instead of having like what no, look, we don't have a princess currently with like black hair,
that's right,
right?
we don't. Yeah.
Rosalina's got very light, basically white hair. Maybe Rosalina X can have just like jet black hair.
Yes, absolutely. And for all time, you'll be confused, like, what is this character's relationship to the other one? Like,
No one knows.
why was this invented? What is Sarasa Land?
Oh, and so the roller derby like park itself, like you say, is just like baby park. And maybe like a lot of like extra bumpers and stuff just to like run into, and so like people are being jostled around a little bit more.
Yeah, and maybe there's again, maybe it's one where you've been shrunk down a little bit. So like Rosalina and her crew are like racing against a rival crew, and so they're taking over the track, and you're having to like dodge,
Mm,
between their
mm, mm.
skates and everything like that.
This also makes me sort of want a like a roller derby mode in Mario Kart. I don't know exactly how it would work, but it might.
Yeah, what is that like what are those derbies that were basically they're just trying to destroy each other's cars? That is what
Yeah,
like
demolition derby.
a
Yeah.
demolition derby. Yeah, I feel like Mario Kart needs a mode like that.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right, my next pick. I don't think is going outside. I feel like I am obeying the laws, but you can tell me if I am disobeying the laws. This is going to be a tribute to Diddy Kong Racing, which gives us basically the entire world map of Diddy Kong Racing as our like central race course. And as you go into each of the areas, it'd be just like a little sampling of one of the tracks from each of those areas. This is one that I'm envisioning as one of those one-way tracks, so there aren't several laps. It's just like you hitting all these areas, and you would see the other like characters from Diddy Kong Racing just like either racing alongside you, like not actually, but just as sort of like aesthetic little things here and there. And of course, the character that you would add here would be Diddy Kong, who I again total Mandela effect was like Diddy Kong's already in this game, right? No, Diddy Kong is not in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, I think that having a track around Diddy Kong Racing, which really was like in spirit like a sequel or a like riff on Mario Kart 64 is perfect. I also like the idea cuz like Donkey Kong is already in this game. And so I like that uh on the one hand, the logic is sound that Nintendo, I assume, is following, where they're like, Donkey Kong is a part of Mario history. Diddy
Yes.
Kong is not. Diddy Kong is from this like other branch. But when you have Animal Crossing in the game because they are popular
Yeah.
characters, then it's like anything goes. And like Diddy Kong is a much closer connection than like the Inkling characters
Or
or
Zelda.
Animal Crossing.
Right. Especially when like there are Donkey Kong tracks in the game already that are clearly references to Donkey Kong Country, right?
Right.
And also Diddy Kong has been a playable character previously in the series. So has Funky Kong. Funky Kong is in Mario Kart Wii. So like,
I
let's
totally blacked that out. I totally
he's there, baby.
choose
He
to
is
forget
there.
that was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, let's open the doors back up. Let's let the Donkey Kong stuff back into Mario Kart.
And look, is it a possibly slippery slope? Are we looking at Candy Kong in Mario Kart 9?
Probably we are. Would that be so wrong? Probably yes. Probably it would be terrible.
Okay, my last track and I'm excited for this one is
Okay, great.
Waluigi's condo complex. And
Condo complex? Is this
condo
like he's living
complex.
in a sad condo complex? He's like a divorced dad?
Yes, and so listen, Patrick, you are exactly onto my line of thinking because I truly believe that Waluigi, like Wario, is cool, and we know that Wario has like schemes, and he has like he has game development companies, right? Like he
Right.
is business. Waluigi, I do not think has any of that. I think Waluigi's like I think he's a mean person, but I think he's a coward. And so I think like when he's like in his element, it's like a performer, right? Like Waluigi, his meanness is putting on a show. And so he like goes out, he's mean, but when he comes back home, like he's probably like really meek. You would go to his condo complex and they would be like oh, you would ask his neighbors, oh, does Waluigi live here? And they're like, Waluigi, oh, you mean Wallace? Oh, yeah, I think he's home. Like, he's like really quiet. We never hear from him or anything. I think
Sure, you think
Waluigi lives a
he's like
really
not
boring
going to the
life.
barbecue, or he's like not going to the barbecues. He's like um someone has to like text him to remind him it's his week to take the trash cans in.
Right.
Um yeah.
His like, like his condo is, it's not depressing, it's like fine, right? He like looked
Yeah.
at some
Mhm.
catalogs, he bought some stuff, he can put it together. It doesn't have a lot of personality, but that's Waluigi.
So his condo complex is a lot like the condo of Edward Norton's character in Fight Club, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
exactly.
he's filled it with the furniture because he knows he's supposed to want it, and like no matter how many times he buys a new butter dish, it's just never going to fill that hole in his sad soul. Like it is ultimately sad, but he thinks he like gets some measure of satisfaction from
Right,
keeping
because
a
he's
sort of nice place.
exactly, and he's like trying, but he's just like too boring. He's too bland to have like his own style or personality.
Yes.
And so that's what I want to see. I want us to be driving around his little gated condo community. Everything's really well manicured.
Right.
There's you go into his apartment, you're going up the stairs, you're checking out, his bathroom, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I think I've seen that shower curtain in like the Target mailer that came into my mailbox." It's like, and it's not bad. I think that
Yeah.
is Waluigi's condo complex.
And he's got a pool, right? Like
There is
you have to drive through
100%
the pool.
a
Yeah.
pool, yeah, but it closes at 8:30, and like there's no diving.
Yeah. And usually there's a couple cigarette butts in it and like no one wants to clean it. For that's it. Waluigi's who's the character for this?
Oh yeah, it's the corgi from Super Mario Odyssey. Or not the
Just
corgi. It's
cuz?
not a corgi. It's the
No, it's a Shiba Inu, right?
yeah, the Shiba. Yeah.
Um just cuz.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's it.
Speaking of Super Mario Odyssey, for my final pick, I am doing a New Donk City traffic jam.
Ooh.
So you start on the street, and it feels a lot like Toad Turnpike, but the cars keep it getting denser and denser, and the track starts then guiding you towards ramps that bring you up onto the tops of buildings, then you flop back down onto the tops of cars, and you're racing on the tops of cars, and more ramps that get you up to the tops of buildings, and then you'll end the track, end each lap like way at the top of that huge tower, and there's like a pool top party, and Pauline's band is playing, and it's Jump Up Superstar, and it's great. And then you like fly through the air, and boom, start the lap over again.
That sounds
And
super
if
fun.
Yeah, well, and also like, look, is there a more fully realized place in Mario Odyssey than New Donk City? Like it feels like an actual location that you want to be in and run around and explore. So like let me run around and explore it in a go-kart.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, New Donk City, even though there is so much game after it, to me feels like the climax of that game.
100%. And I don't know, like I feel like you may want to incorporate some amount of the festival and like the 8-bit Donkey Kong in there, but I'm not exactly sure how.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it's just like projected on the buildings or something. There is a part of New Donk City that is like the movie theater, right? Where like you play through a little chunk of the original Super Mario Brothers, and maybe that could just have 8-bit Donkey Kong on it. Playable character for this got to be Pauline.
Another one where, like, yeah, let's pull from Mario's history, a character that,
Hmm.
needs its day in the sun.
Yep. Okay. So I believe now we have 8 courses. Mark, shall I recap them?
Yeah, let's do it.
So all 16 courses are Wart's Royal Music Hall, Bowser, Bowser's Bloodstream, Mushroom Kingdom Hospital, Honeybee Galaxy, Pedal Guy's Psychedelic Trip, Luigi's Haunted Hotel, Bowser Jr.'s Laser Tag Birthday Party, The Moon, Captain Toad's Dig Site, Paper Mario. I didn't have a name for this one. The Paper Mario track. Virtual Boy Boulevard, the Shoal, which is the Salmon Run area, Rosalina's Roller Derby, Diddy Kong Racing, Waluigi's Condo Complex, and the New Donk City Traffic Jam. All right, Mark, are you ready for stage 2 of our Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC plans?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so now we are going to sort our 16 tracks into 4 cups that will appear as part of our imaginary DLC that'll never happen for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, Mark, are there any like overall trends that you see here of things that you would like want to lump together that like make sense in that way? I noticed that we've got like a little bit of a like a Mario Galaxy corner of this, right? Where Rosalina's Roller Derby, the Moon, the Honeybee Galaxy, and then we could either fold like paper Virtual Boy Boulevard, or maybe the Pedal Guys Psychedelic Trip.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of grouping them all together because maybe it's like the Comet Cup or something like that.
That's perfect. Okay, great. I love that so much. So the Comet Cup is going to have the 4 I just mentioned. While I gather those, Mark, do you see any other like easy groupings?
Well, I don't know necessarily that they're easy groupings. So I do kind of like this idea that we have almost like, I don't know if it's spin-off characters or just kind of like secondary Mario characters out here. Like we got Diddy Kong, which is on, like the outer edge of the Mario universe. And we've got Waluigi, which is like obviously in the Mushroom Kingdom, but his 100% like the one of the most poorly defined of, the bunch.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's something here to being like, I don't know, what we would call like the second fiddle cup. And, maybe like Wart fits in there because, just like all these like stuff that it is in the Mario universe, but definitely not like top tier.
Well, so as I'm looking at this, do we have enough like villain stuff to do like a villain track or a villain cup? Because we've got Bowser Jr.'s laser tag birthday party. We've got Wart's music hall. We have Bowser's bloodstream, and then we also have Waluigi's. Yeah, we've got 4 villain tracks.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Waluigi's condo. Yeah. So we just need a name for that.
Yeah,
that would be like the home to the villains.
Yeah, what kind of like object, or is there anything in the Mario universe that like represents villainy? Or
I got it. Poison Mushroom Cup.
Oh yeah, that's so good. So the Poison Mushroom Cup will have Bowser Jr.'s laser tag birthday party. It will have Bowser's bloodstream. It'll have Waluigi's condo complex. And what was the other one we were going to put in there? Oh, Wart's music hall.
So
of course.
Wart's music hall, yeah.
Now, which one do you think is the
cool.
right one to be, because like the Rainbow Road of it, like which is like the grand finale that you are both dreading and looking forward to?
So I feel like that's got to be Wart's Royal. No, Wart's Royal Music Hall is the second to last one. It's big and it is tough, but it's not the showstopper. I feel like Waluigi's Condo Complex is the first one.
Yeah.
It might be Bowser's Bloodstream.
I think you're right.
The final one.
I think it is, especially with the idea that you were talking about, where it like goes like vertical, like there's lots of movement. I think that's right.
Yeah. All right, cool. The two great cups so far: the Comet Cup and the Poison Mushroom Cup. Like these are Mark. We're so good at this. All right, so that leaves us with the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm just going to recount the 8 that we have remaining.
Yeah.
The Mushroom Kingdom Hospital, Luigi's Haunted Hotel, Captain Toad's Dig Site, the Paper Mario Course, Virtual Boy Boulevard, The Shoal, uh, Diddy Kong Racing, and New Donk City.
So, okay, how about if we are putting Diddy Kong, The Shoal, Virtual Boy Boulevard, and
Probably Paper Mario, right?
probably Paper Mario, because we're talking kind of like spin-off Mario adjacent type stuff. It's more of a
So
grab
that's
bag.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a way to go, but I wonder almost if the Shoal and Diddy Kong or the Shoal and Virtual Boy should like anchor one of them, because you know how like the Animal Crossing Cup like is just the Animal Crossing Cup, and like the Triforce Cup is just like it's Zelda, and then like everything else supports it even if it's not like in that same theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, another I do see what you're saying. And like the other thing I was looking at is like let's say we called it like the suitcase cup, and you could say, okay, like we're gonna take you places. We're gonna take you to Captain
Mm.
Toad's dig site. We're gonna take you to Luigi's haunted hotel.
Yeah.
We're gonna take you to the Shoal maybe, and then the last
And
one
New
would
Donk
kind of be
City.
like New Donk City.
Yeah, I like that. The suitcase or like the passport cup.
Yeah, the passport cup.
Okay, that's that. We'll go with passport cup. I like that. And then we have to find a theme that unites the rest of these. Okay, so just to thank you. Just to recap that is going to be Luigi's haunted hotel, Captain Toad's dig site, the Shoal, and New Donk City.
Yep. And I think this is one where I feel like probably like Captain Toad is the first one, is the first track in the cup. Um Luigi's Haunted Hotel's probably the second. I feel like the Shoal
It,
Oh
yeah.
sorry. I feel like the Shoal's
No.
either like the showstopper at like the very end, or New Donk City is like we were talking about in Super Mario Odyssey. That's such a highlight of that game.
Yeah, but I feel like taking the lead from the Triforce Cup and the Animal Crossing Cup, that like the one that's the most obvious guest should be the closer. So I think the Shoal has to be the closer on that one.
So now we're left
Okay.
with Paper Mario, Virtual Boy, Mushroom Kingdom Hospital, and then Diddy Kong Racing.
So this is a real grab bag. I mean this could be just the question block cup.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the P Switch Cup, just like something like random and chaotic.
Yeah. I think I think the question block cup is perfect. Because you don't really know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah, you really don't. So again, this is Paper Mario, Virtual Boy, Boulevard, Mushroom Kingdom Hospital, and Diddy Kong Racing. I feel like the Diddy Kong Racing one is going to be the showstopper at the end. The first one is probably The thing is, these are all cool. They're all cool tracks.
I do
and
think
like
Mushroom Kingdom Hospital is probably, when I think of like classic first tracks, I think of like Moo Moo Farms, and I feel like
yeah.
the hospital is probably the most, not in a bad way, but just like the most standard like Mario Kart trackish.
Where does Excite Bike? Where does that arena fall in that cup? Is it the first one or the second one?
I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. Because I feel like the Virtual Boy Boulevard kind of plays a similar role of like celebrating a thing that is definitely not just Mario, but not there not being like enough meat on its bone to like build a whole cup around it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
feel like
sorry.
it's
I was looking
early.
it up. It's the second course in the Egg Cup.
Okay, great. So that is going to be the second course for us in the question block cup.
Perfect.
All right, Mark, I think we have this all worked out. Would you like to run us down the cups we've got here?
Yeah, so we've got the Comet Cup with the Honeybee Galaxy, the Moon, Rosalina's Roller Derby, and the Pedal Guys Psychedelic Trip. We have the Poison Mushroom Cup celebrating the villains, the Warts Royal Music Hall track, Bowser's Bloodstream, Bowser Jr.'s Laser Tag Birthday Party, and Waluigi's Condo Complex. Although I think I have the order of that messed up.
The order's not quite right, but yeah.
The Passport Cup with Luigi's Haunted Hotel, Captain Toad's Dig Site, New Donk City Traffic Jam, and The Shoal from Splatoon 2. And then rounding us out is the Question Block Cup with the Mushroom Kingdom Hospital, Virtual Boy Boulevard, the Paper Mario track, and then Diddy Kong Racing.
This is perfect. This is a perfect pack of DLC. And Mark, how much does it pain you that we're never going to get anything
never,
like this?
Never. And by even like mentioning some of these things, it's even less likely to happen.
Oh yeah, the second we said Virtual Boy, we got delisted from Apple Podcasts. All right, Mark, let's close this out. So those are our picks for tracks that we would like to see come to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but we would love to have your suggestions. Are there corners of the Mario universe that we did not properly explore? I doubt it. We have Waluigi's Sad Bachelor Home, so I think we nailed it. I think we did everything possible. But please email us with your ideas at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. Or you can tweet at us at NinCartSociety. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. You can share us on Facebook or Twitter, wherever you share stuff. We greatly appreciate it when you do. On Twitter, I am at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at NinCartSociety. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying you can't go in the pool after 8:30. And thanks for listening.
My name is Will Hines, and I am a ghostwriter, meaning I write other people's books for them. And I have a podcast called I Will Write Your Book, which are recordings of my meetings with my eccentric clients, such as a woman blocked after one sentence of a children's book about her dogs, a romance novelist who dislikes sex, and a man proud of having sampled everything in his local grocery store. This podcast has been described as fully improvised, played by some of the best comedians on the planet Earth. Hey, that's pretty good. That's I Will Write Your Book on Campfire Media.
Campfire.